Well, for any failed rappers out there, it sounds like you can still head to South Beach and make a living. All you have to do is just get the Miami Dolphins to sign you. That is where we're at with these 2025 Miami Dolphins, a team that, you know, let's say this. I think their team represents South Beach with a lot of glitz and glam and headlights, and then you peek in a little bit, and maybe it's not so nice under the hood. Let's say we start to look a little bit closer. When you walk outside of 11 and it's 7 a.m. and you start to look at yourself and wow, I look pretty rough.
Start
That's how
questioning life decisions.
how I'm picturing this 2025 Miami Dolphins team. We'll see if my co-host has the same opinion, but we are talking none other than Miami Dolphins here. 8-9 team in 2024. A team that again has lots of offensive skill group talent, but can they put it all together under Tua and McDaniels there? So we are going to break this down like this. I'm going to go through the free agency losses, additions. Then Derek's going to tell us major takeaways, major concerns. We're going to talk major injuries. We will talk fantasy football tips, takes, advice. And then, of course, we will give out our best bets for this 2025 Miami Dolphins team. We've got a lot to get to, so let's get right into it. Of course, I get this fun job of rattling off these. No more Snoop Huntley. He's been replaced by the MILF Hunter to inevitably play when Tua is not able to. You've got Raheem Mostert moving on, as well as Jess Wilson, Barrios and Craycraft. Some depth pieces have moved on. The big one in Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey with the trade with the Steelers for Micah Fitzpatrick. You've got Terron Armstead hanging it up. You've got some pieces on the defense in hand. Agba and Walker moving on as well, and Kendall Fuller. Javon Holland is now in hopefully greener pastures with my New York Giants, and Jordan Poyer is gone. So a lot has left, especially on the defensive side. A lot of guys that saw a lot of run last season. Now with who they brought in, Zach Wilson up top, Alexander Madison, the ATT anytime touchdown king himself, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. The laughable solution right now at tight end 1 and Darren Waller. We'll get much more into that. A couple offensive linemen, James Daniel coming over from the Steelers, Borum from the Bears, and rookie Jonah Savanaia. Defensive tackle Kenneth Grant was a first-round pick. Benito Jones, Willie Gay, Tyrell Dodson, and then safeties, Melifanu, Ashton Davis, and of course Micah Fitzpatrick returns to where it all started in Miami. Now, you have the much more fun job of telling us what it all means. There's a lot of changes for this team. Where are we at with this interesting roster of the 2025 Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all ends up hinging on Tua. I mean, at the end of the day, is he going to be healthy? Is he going to play more than, 10 games? Because he hasn't been able to hardly at all. I mean, I think he's only played 17 games in one season. And he's
fair questions.
He's missed a shit ton of games, but other than that, I still have major question marks along the offensive line. Like you're basically rebuilt the offensive line, and you say it all the time. It starts up front. You got all kinds of skill dudes on the field, whether it's A-Chain or Hill or Waddle or Westbrook-Ikhine. I mean, they got skill positions except for potentially at the tight end, but I just don't know if I can necessarily trust the offensive line, Tua's health. Defensively, I see this team about like I did last year. Maybe upgraded a little bit with guys like Kenneth Grant up front and obviously Micah Fitzpatrick in the back end. But I still have some question marks along the defense, especially outside of Minka in the secondary. The cornerback is probably my biggest question outside of the offensive line is like Jack Jones and Storm Duck. Is that the guy's name? Is who I'm seeing as is who I am seeing as their cornerback 1 and 2. So I don't know, they might have to score 35 points a game in order to win some games here. But again, is Tua going to be healthy, and is that offensive line going to open up some holes for A-Chain to run through?
So you're telling me you have a quarterback who struggles to stay healthy, and you
Yes.
have an offensive line who is at the very nicest put a major question mark.
Yes.
Does not sound like a recipe for success to me, but who knows? Maybe I'm biased. I think the tight end room is a joke currently. Now, I will say this. Oh, okay. I just got a notification about it, so I wanted to make sure. Noah Fant, who was surprise release from the Seahawks, is currently
Right?
visiting with the Miami Dolphins as we speak, as in Monday, right?
Yeah.
If they sign him, I will move Miami up in what I think. If they let
Okay.
him leave the building without getting
Yeah.
signed, that tells me what I think right now, that they're not serious about winning football games this season. And
Yeah.
this is a team that's getting ready for a regime change, and potentially Hill can get shipped off and looking to move forward from Tua. Because right now the tight end room is an absolute joke. If you
Yep.
think a 33-year-old former rapper is going to now be your tight end one who spent a year and plus on the couch. He
Right.
quit while on the New York Football Giants. He quit and said he does not want to play football anymore. His heart is not in it. So
Yep.
you think the distractions of South Beach is going to make his heart in it is an absolute
Oh,
joke.
yeah.
So, look, everyone's
Hey, he's just trying to make moves, man. He's the
it's a
the
free
rap
move to South
career.
Beach.
The rap career. I mean, he's got better gigs down in Miami, and he's looking for a new side piece. Him and
It's
Kelsey
it's good
Plummer are no
PR.
longer. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Remember that music video of him breaking up? Oh my goodness. How embarrassing! I can't wait to bring that back. But anyway, getting back to the football of it. The offensive line, tight end, Tua's health, major questions, right?
yeah.
Cornerback room is terrible.
Yes.
Cater Kohu, pretty solid.
Yeah.
He's kind of stepped up a little bit to be the nickelback. I'd say he's their CB1, but he plays in the slot. And then yeah, you have they drafted Jason Marshall in the 6th round out of the
Yeah.
Gators. Cam Smith, Storm Duck, Jack Jones, they
And
just
then
picked up off the street, and he's already starting for them. So that should tell you like nobody else
right.
wanted him, and now he's automatically a starting quarterback
And
for
then you
you.
got a guy named Hurricane Goose
Yeah.
playing cornerback. So yeah, I have some major question marks when it comes to the secondary for
Yeah.
sure.
So let's move on because I could probably spend 20 minutes just breaking down this very hilarious roster to me. But there are some guys on this team, so it's not a complete wash. We'll go through it here.
Okay.
We'll talk through some injuries. There's a decent amount, but not all of them are the same. So we'll kind of breeze through a couple here. Darren Waller's on the pup right now. They're calling it a ramp up from retirement.
Yep.
Just to show you that he was not in football shape, which kind of should give you more of a pause. If you really seriously think that if he's your answer at tight end one, I have serious questions about the seriousness of your organization. I'll say it again. If you don't sign Noah Fant, I think that's a huge misstep for Miami, but whatever. Offensive line, Aaron Brewer's their starting center, dealing with a right leg soft tissue injury. He should be fine. Not a whole lot there to go off of. And then same with Cater Kohu. He just got hurt a couple days ago, but it's just a day-to-day leg injury. Should be minor. Some guys that I want your opinion on, some bigger kind of injuries here. James Daniels, former Steelers guard, if I'm correct,
Yep.
tore his Achilles in week 4. He's got about 11 months, expected recovery timeline of 10 to 12 months coming off an Achilles tear. We just kind of talked about this with Jermaine Johnson, but where are we at with James Daniels?
I think he suits up week 1. I think it's one of those things where with Achilles tears, ACL tears, like these bigger injuries that take 10, 12 plus months, there's a giant difference between people movers and people that move. And by that I mean offensive linemen versus running backs and wide receivers. So James Daniels is a people mover. Like he's a powerful guard. My biggest question for him is, will he be able to be that swing guard that McDaniels likes to run and start moving offensive line around? Because the dude's massive. I just don't know if he can necessarily move. And that's not necessarily coming from the Achilles tear. Like I said, I think he'll be perfectly fine come week 1. But it might be, a little slower in the get along when it comes to just his ability to play the position.
Yeah, no,
In that
exactly.
offense.
So, injury wise, should be good to go week one. Obviously, there's always re injury risk when we come back from these major injuries, but
Yep.
he should be on pace good for week one. It's just a question mark on ability there. And then Jaelan Phillips, partially torn ACL in week four. That's a 10 to 12 month kind of, required surgery, major
Who came
injury.
off of the Achilles tear
Right.
and
Yeah.
immediately
Right.
tore his ACL. So this guy hasn't played football in basically 2
Consistently.
calendar years. I
Yep.
mean, in this situation, it is a little bit different, in my opinion, just because he spent so much time on the couch or on the rehab table
Right.
that, yes, he is slotted to be one of their starting linebackers, but I would not be surprised if it takes Jaelan Phillips a little while. And I'm thinking like the first half of the season to
Yeah.
really get going again.
Yeah, great player when he's healthy. I was shocked at how well he came back last year
Yeah.
from the Achilles. He looked pretty damn good, but
For a couple
obviously
weeks. Yeah.
it was too soon because he just went down with another major injury to that side. So uh, he's got to, as hard as it is to come back from an Achilles tear, now you're coming back from an Achilles tear and an ACL as well in back-to-back seasons. We'll see, but he's definitely got a lot going against him here.
Yep.
All right, let's get on to the betting space here. 8-9 team last year. Win total 8.5. Heavy juice to the under. 7.5. Looks like it's a little bit more. We'll go with the 7.5. Over -105. Under -115 over at DraftKings. Future market, make the playoffs about plus 225. Miss the playoffs minus 280 ish. To win the AFC East, anywhere from plus 750 to plus 850. Win the AFC 41 to 1 or 40 to 1, and to win the Super Bowl 90 to 1. Any futures win total plays for this team?
I do not, and it all just comes down to Tua. If he is able to play 16, 17 games, I can see them winning 9, 10. If he doesn't, they'll be a 6, 7 win team. So I'm staying away from all totals and playoff related stuff for the Dolphins this year. I got a couple player props, but I'm staying away from that.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite. I have no player props for this team. I think a lot of the props are pretty appropriately priced. I'm going to go win total, and I'm going to go under 7.5 at -115. When we talk about a team that, with a lot of these teams, we say, hey, they've got a decent floor because of X, Y, and Z. I don't know if they're one of those that will crater. I think this is a team that could crater because of the offensive line. As a fan of the New York Football Giants, I understand what it's like to have a team where you can have some talent on the outside, but if you do not have protection up front, you have nothing in the National Football League. People are going to point to the Bengals and say, look what Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins do, whatever. That's much more the exception to the rule. There's a lot more examples of teams with bad offensive lines and quarterbacks who can't stay healthy that absolutely crater. So I think if you're in a situation where that line doesn't hold up and now we have Tua going out again, Zach Wilson is not somebody I'm trusting to win football games. So I'm going to take the under 7.5 wins at -115. I'm also going to take 20 to 1, the fewest wins in the NFL.
Okay.
I think that you can make an argument. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They have one of the worst tight end rooms in the league, and they have one of the worst cornerback rooms in the league. Quarterbacks and cornerbacks and offensive line, pretty damn important positions. Tight ends, you can argue, I get it. But in a pass-happy league, if you can't cover, you can't do anything. And let's be honest, Ashton Davis was a backup last year. Jack Jones got cut by the team he was playing for in the Raiders last season. Duck was in and out of the lineup. Cahu, again, is okay. But Minka Fitzpatrick, he's been a shell of himself. So to think that he's just going to fix a bad secondary, I think he's putting way too much on his plate. So I'm going to play the situation where this team craters. And I think 20 to 1 is good value for a team that is a Tua injury away, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From I could see Tyreek Hill getting traded, and
Sure.
things. At that point, if he's getting up there in age, he's probably going to start demanding a trade. Let's be honest. Tua just said that him and Hill are still mending a relationship due to him basically quitting on the team last season.
Yeah.
This dude got arrested on the way to a game last year. Like, this is not a kind of set situation where I feel like there's a lot of factors that can just cause this thing to combust. So
Sure.
that's enough on that. I want to hear your player props for this team.
Yeah, give me Jaylen Waddle to go over 1,000 receiving yards at plus 150. I think at the end of the day, Tyreek has his own issues, and if he is on the field, I think it actually improves Jaylen Waddle's stock a little bit, just because defenses are so worried about Tyreek Hill and his abilities that, Waddle is a very similar player to Tyreek Hill. But so give me Jaylen Waddle at over 1,000 at plus 150. And then give me Tua to throw for at least 3,500 passing yards. Now, obviously, the big question is he going to stay healthy?
Right.
Last year, he only played in 11 games because I think he missed, 4 or 5 games because of a concussion pretty earlier in the season. And then he missed, I believe, the last 2 games with a hip-related injury. The year before that, he threw for 4,600 yards and led the NFL. The year before that, he only played in 13 games and still went over this number. So even if he misses, 3-4 games because of injury or whatever, I still think he can hit this number just because Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and A-Chain, and like, they got some dudes, you know, but the biggest question is his head going to hit the turf one too many times and, him pop up with his 4th, 5th concussion at this point, and none of them have been, simple concussions. They've been major hits and kept him out for multiple weeks. So I think that's the one thing that, if he sustains another giant concussion, and not all concussions are created equal, but at the same time, when you've had the number that he has at the severity that he has, his one last year kept him out for 3 or 4 weeks. So, even if we get one of those, I still think he goes over the number, but there is some variance there.
Yeah, I think you got to get to 12 games there. There's no reason he should not be throwing for over 300 yards a game. He's got great wide receivers. He's got a very explosive running back out of the backfield, and he's got some of the worst cornerbacks on the other side. They're going to need to score, regardless, win, loss, whatever the record is. You're going to have to score, and you're going to have to throw the ball. So I think that if he gets to 12 games, he should hit this number, which gives you some of that, hey, kind of at least got to pencil in missing 1 or 2 best case, I think. So barring major injury, I agree. For me, obviously there's a lack of trust in the offensive line and lack of trust in his ability. So, but I do think, unlike most guys, you don't need to play, 15, 16 games to get there.
Right.
All right. So these 2025 Miami Dolphins, I think they are a team that looks a lot better on the outside, but when you start peeking in, talk about that offensive line, that quarterback room, that tight end room, things look pretty damn ugly. So I will be taking them on the under 7.5, and I will also be playing them to have the fewest wins in the NFL. Derek is not so much a pessimist on this team. He will be backing Tua to go over 3,500 yards. And Mr. Jalen Waddle, someone we both like to have a bounce back year, get back to 1,000 yards at plus 150 there.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.